Hey there. This is a quick tutorial on how to make a simple bar graph in Excel. I added some data. This is snake link data in centimeters that I just made up off the top of my head. This is a review. Remember, when we want Excel to do something, we need to put an equal sign in there, and I'm going to take the mean in Excel language, that's the average. Don't forget your parentheses. And so we have a mean length for a worm snake of about 10 centimeters, and that seems about right if we look at the data. I also want the standard deviation, and if you remember, again, equal sign, and in Excel language it's STDEV, parentheses, and we're going to select the data, not the mean. So 10 and 3. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it in the remaining cells. And just a quick look over, that seems about right. Just glance at the means and the standard deviations. This just gives us a little bit of an explanation of the spread of the data. Now, typically in this class, I'll ask you to make a bar graph, and a bar graph is basically illustrating your mean. And I also expect error bars because I want to see the spread of that data. Are your data points pretty close to the mean, or are they spread far apart? So if we look at the black rat snake, the mean length is 143, but the standard deviation is 50. So there were some smaller snakes in there, 80 centimeters up to 190 centimeters for the largest. So that's quite a big difference in snake length. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take our labels, select them, copy. I'm going to put it over here just to make things a little simpler. Let's see. I'm also going to take the mean and standard deviation. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put it here, but I'm going to paste special. So if you right click, my computer's a little slow today. Paste special, and we just want values. So that takes out the equations. Let me put a little space in here. Okay. So just double check that all your numbers are correct. It looks like it put some extra digits in this one. Okay, that looks about right. Alright, so now we just have a simplified version of this. Because when we do the bar graph, all we really need is the mean. So this is really how simple it is. I'm going to select my labels and my mean. Going to insert, because we're going to insert the graph in here, and over here the recommended charts, right there's a picture of a bar graph, bar chart, and we just want the simplified version. So dropped it in here. Alright, that looks pretty good. We might want to change some of these titles. Mean, you can say mean snake length. I'm just going to say, yeah, average. And remember to put your labels in there. We're also missing an axis label on this side. So if you click on the bar graph, these three things are going to come up. Plus sign gives you more options for that graph. I'm going to select axis title, and if you click on it, is centimeters again. We don't really need the bottom one, the x-axis. We're just going to delete that. Okay, so that looks pretty good, but remember the second part of this graph is putting in the error bars. I want to see the spread of the data. How much spread do we have in the worm data? How much the corn snake? So to do that, you can hit the plus. The paintbrush is just to change the style, and some filters, what's visible, what's not visible. We're mainly going to be focusing on this plus button. In Excel, the same things are up here. You can find them under format. It's just a little bit different labeling. This is the quickest way to get to those things. So error bars are down here, and you notice if we just select this, it puts error bars across all the data. But if you look even closer, you'll realize that all these error bars are exactly the same. And that's not true. We had standard deviations running from 3 to 50. So this cannot possibly be right. And that's the first mistake that students often make. So we're going to go over here. And the same thing. Set value, set value, set value. Look at this one. The middle bar for black rat snake is basically in the center of the data. So we know this isn't right. So you're going to select more options. And what comes up next is some formatting. So you can format what your error bar looks like in these first two options. And then down here we have a fixed value, a percentage, 5%, you can change that. Standard deviation, but unfortunately that standard deviation is over all the data, all the worm, black rat, corn, copperhead, and water snake data. Standard error is the same thing. It's all the data, and we want individualized for each unit that we're looking at. So we're going to hit custom and specify value. You've already calculated standard deviation, so Excel makes it pretty easy. It still wants to put a 1 in there, so you're just going to delete that. And because you've set it up so the mean is directly over the standard deviation, it's going to assign those standard deviations to the correct category. Same thing with the negative error bar. Keep the equal sign and select the cells that you want to represent your standard deviation. Hit OK. That looks much better. So now we can see we had very little variation in the worm data. More for the black rat snake. Copperhead seemed to have a lot of variation. Corn snake, they were all similar in size, or closer to similar in size. So that's my quick tutorial on making a graph. Now, if you want to copy and paste this in, oh, I don't like these lines either. Let's get rid of those. If you want to copy and paste this, you can change the font size just clicking on the graph. You can change, you can modify this any way you want, but you can right click and format the chart area, change the chart type, select data, but I'm just going to copy. And then you can paste that right into a Word document that you want to use for your lab write-ups or anything you want to use. So that's a quick method on how to make a bar graph in Excel.